Hi guys, Stephen Edwards from CTA Profit First Accountants. So, as I've said before, there's a couple of ways to consume the Profit First Club newsletter. So, you could just read it, and I've tried to keep it fairly short and sweet and to the point because I could dive a bit deeper, but I'm saving that for the video. So, the video will be slightly more in depth. But by all means, anyone who's watching this, feel free to reach out to me if you've got any questions on any of the specific topics I talk about. So I want to first talk about the profit frontier curve. So this comes from a book called The Strategist by Cynthia A. Montgomery, I believe, and she's a strategist, business school teacher at Harvard Business School. So CEOs pay literally tens of thousands of pounds to be in her classes. So it's a really interesting read if anyone wants to think more strategically, which is probably the theme and the topic of my insights this week. I do recommend reading the book. But there's a really interesting concept that I'm sure, we can look at this from different angles and relate it to other things we've come across in the past. But for me, sometimes you need to see it from a different way for it to really resonate. And this resonated with me a little bit. So this is what they call the profit frontier, and it's this curve. So if you look at the left-hand side, we've got customers' willingness to pay, high to low. And at the bottom, we've got relative cost position in terms of serving those customers, and we've got high to low. So the idea is really you want to be on that profit frontier curve. So you can get away with a high relative cost, which is at the bottom to the left-hand side, if you've also got high willingness to pay. So think of Apple, think of luxury brands. In this example, this was Gucci in 1975. The book does show how the curve changed for Gucci over several years. It did show how it changed for Gucci over several years, but the concept of the curve is the same, and it's just really interesting to think, where do you sit? If you want to be low willingness to pay, so you want to be kind of, I wouldn't say cheap and cheerful, but you want to be more cost driven, you really need to be super, super low. If you look at the profit curve, if you've got low willingness to pay, you need to be in that bottom right corner. So you need to have a really low cost position. So really, that needs to be Audi, Lidl with the buying power. That needs to be IKEA, and it's just something to think about for your business. Is how can you create enough value that you've got high willingness to pay from the customers, but your cost position is not necessarily super, super, super high. So if you could be somewhere on that curve, you're in a really good place. So I thought it was a really interesting concept, something to think about for your business. Linking in on the financial side of things, a lot of people, when they're spending in their business, and I get that Profit First is all about curbing, not necessarily curbing, but watching the expenses as you scale. It's the idea, you're not just going to throw money at the problem as your revenue goes up. You're going to watch your bottom line. That's why it's called Profit First. However, not all expenses are equal. I always talk about the people we work with. We want to be an investment. We appreciate it's a catch-22. Often people are spending a little bit more money to increase their cash and increase their profit. But we want to be an investment. If we're not an investment, there's no point people working with us. And anyone who's business to business, anyone who's even business to customer, there needs to be value at the end of the day in the consumer's eyes. But when you're spending in your own business, marketing is a brilliant example. You're not spending on marketing hoping and just wasting money and throwing it in the ocean. You want a return. For every £1 that goes in that marketing machine, you really want, £1.50 or whatever it is back. And you can look at your team members. You can look at when you have a new team member. They shouldn't be a cost. They should be an investment. You should be getting a return. Even if they're not a chargeable team member, even if they're admin, their support, their customer service, they're all helping you serve your customers. So often when we do expense reviews of our clients, we look at, is it nice to have? Is it a must have? Or is it something you're looking to get a return on immediately or in the future? So I just think it's an interesting perspective in terms of investing in your business. Having a strong why. So I've been sharing a bit more on LinkedIn recently, and I decided just to make it a little bit more personal. And I was just looking back and reflecting on the year, and I just realized one of my big driving forces. A lot of people talk about start with why, which is Simon Sinek. his book Start With Why, and he really started this whole sort of thing, and he talked a lot about Apple and their ethos. It can be quite simple. It doesn't always need to be changing the world. And I've realized, and it's not that I don't appreciate the present, I don't appreciate my life right now, but creating memories, having holidays is a big part of my why. And that's just a picture from when we went to Vegas with the father-in-law in May, actually around my birthday. And I kind of put this here in the newsletter because it might seem a little bit wishy-washy, but trust me, it makes a huge difference in terms of your intentions in your business. Just have a think of what's really driving you. If people are just chasing revenue for the sake of chasing revenue, it doesn't tend to end very well in the long term. You need to kind of have a sense of purpose, really. And this links again really nicely in terms of building a business with intention. I got into a little bit of discussion, debate with another accountant on LinkedIn who said, people talk about fancy cars, luxuries, holidays, all these things. But the reality is I'm working 60 hours this week and I'm getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning just to get it all done. And I am not taking away anything from that grind. I have been there, and there is a time and place to work 60 hours a week. Normally when you're starting your business or you're scaling your business, growing, and you need to lead from the front. However, if you think it's not possible to create a business that can run without you, and I've just plugged my book in at the bottom, which I'm about to release, which I am willing to give away for free, by the way, for 2024, if anyone wants to reach out with the details. It all starts with intention. You absolutely can build a business that can run without you. You might be a freelancer, contractor, a specialist, and you might have no intention to do that. That's completely fine. But if you've got a team, or you're looking to build a team and you think you can't, I don't know who's who got attributed with this quote. It might have been Peter Drucker. It's if you, or actually it. Zig Ziglar, I think it was. If you can or you can't, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. So it all starts with your own beliefs. So if you think you can't build a business that can run without you, then you're not going to build a business that run without you. So this is really just, it all starts with intention, all starts with your plan. When I work with people to help them build a business that can run without them, we start with the vision of you as the owner. What does your perfect week look like? And then what does your dream life look like? How many holidays? What days do you work? What times do you finish? How many holidays do you want a year? How much do you need to earn personally to have everything you need in your life? Then we create a numbers plan around that. So there's methods and there's philosophy. I use the entrepreneurial freedom system I've created to do that. So I just wanted to really share a little bit about that. This is a really interesting one, and I've never looked at it this way until recently. As business owners, we have so many things to do. A to-do list doesn't really work, and if you haven't really studied productivity and self-development, you might be thinking I'm crazy. But if you've just got a to-do list, you end up with lots of tasks. And if you've got a vision, you don't want to focus on tasks, you want to focus on goals. You want to focus on the big things that are going to get you where you need to go. There will be individual tasks, but if your to-do list is never ending. So, it's quite an interesting concept that actually a lot of things on your to-do list, really, I'm a big believer in having big goals, big projects, and blocking the time out to focus on those things as opposed to a to-do list. But there will be some form of to-do list. They will come down to two things. They will really come down to opportunities and obstacles most of the time. And you could say obstacles are getting the work done for your customers. We are privileged to serve other people as customers, whether you're business to business, business to consumer. We are absolutely privileged to serve other people. But in this context, you would put it more in the obstacle because you've got to get it done. So, but most of the time in this, I'm really talking about the challenges in your business and the problems. When you're trying to scale something will break. It won't be a completely, smooth growth curve. There will be challenges. But a lot of time as owners, we chase the shiny new object and we focus on opportunities. We focus on the new idea, the new marketing technique. Maybe that new member of staff is going to solve all our problems. Maybe that new piece of software is going to solve all the problems. Maybe the new accountant or the new business coach or the new marketing plan or the AI is going to solve all our problems. the thing is, opportunities are generally things that you should do, and obstacles are probably things you must do. So if you think about it, if you've got a plane, really an opportunity is how to make that plane, focusing on how to make that plane go faster, higher, and make it more fancy. Whereas an obstacle is the plane's on fire, and it's a bit stupid to be trying to make it go faster when the plane's on fire. So it really links into the 80-20 principle. I would encourage you to really hone in on what your obstacles are in your business, because they will be the bottlenecks, they will be the ceiling, they will be the things that are limiting you. And if you focus on your obstacles, you would generally break down barriers. So I just wanted to share a little bit about that. There's more than 3 ways we can help you, but just 3 ways on the newsletter. Just give you some ideas. If you want to reach out, pop me an email about anything you want. TikTok, if you just want some tax tips, follow me on there. Or if you're not a client, you can book a meeting with me. If you are a client, you can still book a meeting with me. But basically, just reach out if you've got any questions. Thanks, guys.